Coach Benzel, we'll start with you. You are not a coach who's been reluctant to embrace and integrate practical technology, whether in-game planning, decision-making, training, or player safety, to gain a competitive advantage for your program. With college football's new rules allowing iPads on the sidelines, how do you think that will help you? Is it too much information overload? What are some advantages or disadvantages that you see?
I think it's going to be exciting for all of us as coaches to take advantage of some sideline communication. I know when I first started in college football, I had the privilege of being upstairs in the booth, and I can tell you how important it is for support staff to make sure that you have the eyes of the big picture, so to speak, up top. And to be quite honest with you, because of the nature of our sport, there's a lot of turnover, particularly in the college game at the small college level. So it's difficult to find the eyes up top that you need. And so I think having the ability to see some things from sideline communication and through video is going to really, really help us. And I think the game is about adjustments. I think every coach recognizes going into a game week what you think is going to happen. And the reality of it is once the game's kicked off, things move quite fast. And it's going to be imperative that our group adapts very quickly and benefits from that sideline communication. So I'm very excited about it.
Okay. Coach wouldn't call it a secret that your defense has been Westminster's calling card since your arrival in 2014. As offenses continue to develop and coaching philosophies on that side of the ball change, do you see your defenses reacting to those newer offensive innovations, or is the focus on getting offenses reacting to you? Also talk a little bit about just how important it is to continue to trust your stuff and your schemes as offenses evolve.
Yeah, again, as a head coach, we're stretched in a lot of different areas. But the reason I got hired as a head coach was because of the success that I had on the defensive side of the ball. So it is a fine balance. You don't want to get too far away from what got you into football and why you're successful in the football. In terms of a philosophy on defense, the first and most important thing coaching any position is you have to get your players to believe in you, and you have to get them to play hard. Scheme aside, if your players don't believe in what you're teaching and they don't want to play or run through a wall for you, so to speak, it'll be a difficult season for you. So very, very blessed to be mentored by a guy named Dan Radakovich, who did defense as well as anybody. As a matter of fact, did offensive line as well as anybody in the game. And I was just a benefactor of learning his style of teaching, and as a young guy and coaching, it was the best education that I've ever gotten. And Rad always taught me, again, the secret to sort of preparing defenses and not necessarily what you see on tape, but how they're going to attack you. So it's really more about, what do you think you're going to practice all week and go into that week with versus maybe what offense is shown on film. So I believe we've done a nice job with that. It's at times, unfortunately, last year I didn't think we met the standard that has been around our defense, and that has a lot to do with just the fact that we had new guys. That had a lot to do with the fact that early on I was coaching offensive line, so there's some things that we had to do structurally to help our team overall, and that's my job as a head coach. But I'm very excited about the guys that we have back, and I think we can get back to where we are attacking and getting after people.
Okay. As the PAC continues to get better and better, it's tougher and tougher to win. You've been able to build something pretty special during your 10 years in New Wilmington, setting high standards, preaching toughness and accountability while pushing your players hard. What type of player works at Westminster, and what's the sell? What is it about the culture that makes players want to experience it?
Yeah, a Westminster guy to me is somebody that loves doing both, being great at both, getting a great education and playing great football. We are so blessed to have the tradition and history at Westminster. I have an athletic director who's won a national championship at the school that he is the athletic director at. That's an example. I've also been blessed to have former head coach, Coach Fusco, when I first got here, to be around, and sort of that tradition attracts a certain type of young man. It's no secret New Wilmington's not Las Vegas. Okay, we don't have the trappings that some of the other schools have. We're not, like I said, we're not Cleveland. We're not downtown Pittsburgh. So what we attract is guys that love football, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's an environment that allows us to not have a lot of distractions. So when we get a guy up and the first question he asked me where the party's at, that's probably a guy we're going to cross off our list. It's just not a fit for them. We're not that type of a program. We're a program that's no nonsense. We want to line up. We want to play good, hard football, and our social life is our football. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it to all you guys that are playing the game. You will never replace the feeling you have on a Saturday night with your buddies that you played 60 minutes with after a win. And I don't care if you're in the middle of Las Vegas, that is way more important than the party after. And that's what our Westminster guys are about, and that's generally the type of kids that we attract.
Coach, your player representative, Ty McGowan, had what many felt was a really solid year in 2023, as evidenced by being an All-PAC selection last year. How have you seen him grow since that W&J game in 2022 when you replaced a 4-year starter in Cole Konitschka? And talk a little about Ty's ceiling in what is going to be a very deep year for quarterbacks in the PAC.
You know, instinctively when we got to meet Ty, he just has it, whatever that is. He's a very cool under pressure guy. He's extremely well-liked, very respected, extremely hard-working, all the traits that you want as a leader of your football team. But there's something a little bit different about Ty, and that's his toughness. There's no secret that Ty has had some injuries along his career, and he's battled through them, never complained. He's never pulled the, oh, woe is me. As soon as he got hurt and was shut down this spring for us, he was on the field as a coach, an extension of us. Ty's just a special guy, and our players know that. And as a coach, his ceiling is whatever he needs it to be. It's whatever he can bring to our team. He'll meet my expectations, and he's already done that. So, can he throw more touchdowns? Can he throw more yards? Can he hit more checkdowns? Yeah, he can do all that, but he's already checked the box for me in terms of his leadership. And really, that's the most important thing for me when we're talking about our quarterback.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. And now we'll take a few minutes to ask Ty about the season. Heading into your junior year, you've already played in some high-pressure situations in your career, such as the W&J game in 2022 we just mentioned. Can you share one or two specific in-game situations that you've been able to learn and grow from since taking the reins of the offense as a freshman?
Yeah, I think dating back to that game, pretty early being in that game, thrown into that game, I threw a costly interception. Led to W&J being able to get some points. And as a young guy, that's tough because, you're in your head maybe because you just threw your first interception, all that. But they showed confidence in me. Next drive, one of the next couple drives, we went down the field, primarily throwing the ball. And we ended up scoring a touchdown, gave ourselves a better shot to win the game. Unfortunately, we didn't. And then another one, I'd say opening up with Grove City last year is really big, not just for me, but for our team. Really helps you understand how important off-season preparation is, especially those couple weeks of camp and scrimmage if you have one before that week. So I think those are two situations that was really helpful.
Following your sophomore season, you were picked as honorable mention All-PAC selection. What have you done this summer to concentrate on getting better? How do you feel, or what areas have you grown the most in over the last year and a half?
I think quarterback's a mental position, so I think getting a step ahead, trying to understand what defenses are doing to us, looking at film from last year, trying to get on the same page as the rest of the offensive staff is going to be crucial for us from quarterback to staff. I think just the mental part of it, and then also throughout the spring I had the opportunity to try and lead the guys and really push them, even though I wasn't able to participate, like you said, similar to as a coach. I just tried to be a motivator on the sidelines.
As a quarterback, your best friends can be the offensive line, and you have 5 offensive linemen returning with various levels of starting experience, including a pair of 2023 honorable mention All-PAC selections in senior guard Matt Howard and sophomore tackle Braden Micah. Talk a little about what you've seen from this group during your time together and how they can be a strength for the program.
Yeah, I think all 5 of those guys, especially those 2 that you highlighted, they love the game of football. I think continuity is huge, especially for offensive line. We've talked about it as a football team, but I think for offensive lines, that's huge. They love the game, but also they love their teammates. So I think that them going out there every day with smiles on their faces, showing their teammates that they're going to come out here and they're going to be the most unselfish group on the field, really affects them and helps them play better, but it also influences the teammates.
Talked about the offensive line. Who do you anticipate stepping up among the wide receivers and tight ends this season?
Point out one guy who's making the receiver to tight end switch, Brock Koval. He's a young guy. I think he's doing well, adapting to the mindset that you need to play tight end, both being in the pass game and run game. And then out wide, Ty Elam's coming back from an injury. He's such a dynamic playmaker that he helps out the other guys that we have out there, like Beachy, Jalen Washington, Marcel Smith-Austin. So we got a lot of guys to spread it around to, but Ty coming back is huge for us because he's such a big playmaker. And then Brock's going to step up as a young guy.
And a final follow-up question. Have you ever been to Las Vegas, and can you compare that statement that Coach Benzel made earlier? I'm kidding on that.
I've never been to Las Vegas.
And what happens stays out there, right? Thank you, Ty, and thank you again, Coach Benzel. A reminder, the Titans are off in Week 1 and begin the season September 14th at home against Waynesburg University. Coach Scott Benzel and quarterback Ty McGowan.